Hello and welcome to the channel everybody. In this video I want to talk about the Vive Cosmos Elite for sim racing. If you're following along on this channel and you're subscribed, you might notice that I previously did a video not too long ago. That's not a mountain lion, that's just my cat. I previously did a video on this channel with the Vive Cosmos and how the Cosmos is for sim racing, and I have upgraded the Cosmos and I have purchased the external faceplate. As you can see, it used to be a Cosmos, that's why it's blue. The Elites normally are black all around, but this is a hybrid. This is a Cosmos and a Cosmos Elite now. So I can use it for either internal tracking or base station tracking. So anyway, yes, I've got the faceplate now. Still looks pretty good on a blue. I would have liked a blue one, but you know, can't be picky. Of course, I did buy base stations and everything as well. On the note of the external tracking faceplate that you buy additionally to the Cosmos to make it a Cosmos Elite, in the pack was also this, the head strap. It normally comes with a thinner head strap. For some reason, on the Elite, they change it to a bigger, fatter strap. I don't know why that is. I put it on anyway. Maybe it's just a newer updated strap. I don't know. What I do know is how it is for sim racing. I've spent a few weeks now with the Cosmos Elite for sim racing, and I thought I would give you my thoughts on it.
Green light, go, go, go.
Alright, the Cosmos Elite for sim racing. Now, if you've seen my previous video on the Cosmos for sim racing, you'll know a little bit about this one. I mean, the Cosmos Elite is very, very similar to the Cosmos. It's only really the external tracking that changes things here. If you haven't watched the previous video, I probably recommend watching that for all the other stuff. But a little spoiler alert, if you haven't, then there was probably two main areas where I felt the Cosmos probably needed a little bit more work, and one of those things was the tracking. And so I thought I'd upgrade it to the Elite to see how much better the tracking got. I'm coming from an Oculus Rift S, in which I normally use for sim racing. I do have a Quest 2 as well, but I'm not a big fan for that for sim racing. Again, I have a video on this. If you want to watch it, check that out later. But mostly I use the Rift S up until this Cosmos, and I've found with the tracking with the Rift S was okay most of the time, but sometimes it just lost the boundary completely and booted me from the entire game. So that was really annoying in the middle of the race, it to jump out and say, "We've lost your boundary," which made me want to go to the Cosmos and at least try it out, which I did. And I found the Cosmos didn't do that for me, so it's a little bit better in that respect. In terms of the inside-out tracking of the Cosmos, I found that it was good. It did have a little bit of floating where I kept having to recenter my VR display in sim racing, which is why I wanted to try out the Elite with the external base station tracking. I did have, in a short amount of time, I counted the number of issues I had with the Rift S, doing like major jumps while I'm racing, where all of a sudden I'm closer to the steering wheel and all of a sudden I'm over here. I had that twice with the Rift S, and about in the same amount of time with the Cosmos, I had it probably once. I could safely say with 2 weeks of using this Cosmos Elite, I actually haven't had any major like jumps while I'm racing at all. So in terms of tracking, this is actually one of the best experiences I've had out of all the headsets I've ever had, and I've had a few, but yeah, the Steam VR tracking, the external base stations and all that, seems to be the best tracking I've used, with no major jumps. In terms of the headset kind of slightly going off center, I'm pretty happy with it. It has gone off center on me a little bit, but it's only a little bit generally, and I guess this probably depends how you set up your base stations. I have heard with some other people that they have had issues with external tracking, at least in my scenario, and I'm only using the base station 1.0s as well, might I add. So I'm not running the later base station 2.0s, and I am running the 1.0s in a pretty small room. I think the 1.0s only have a certain amount of meter. I think they recommend about 3.5 meters. I guess if you have base station 1s and you have a really big room, and maybe you might have issues that way. But in my small room, the base station 1 tracking, and I didn't set this up kind of like what they recommend. Normally they say in each opposite corner of the room put a base station, but I actually didn't. I put one in the corner of my room, kind of, especially because I've got triple screens in front of me. They had to be really high to actually look over the triple screens on the one that was in front of me. And then instead of putting one behind me, which I didn't really think it would be beneficial, I actually put it to the side of me looking down. So that way, especially if I'm using the controllers for something, which, I mean, you don't use controllers for sim racing, but if you are using the controllers to, let's say, go through the menu or whatever when you're not sim racing, I have that one beside me to look down into my lap effectively. And if I somehow duck under the triple screen monitors or something with either controllers or my headset, that one on the side of me can actually still track me. So with that kind of setup, by having one in the kind of front corner trying to face down over the monitors as much as possible, and one to the side of me looking kind of down to my lap, I haven't had any issues. Lighting isn't a big deal, unlike with the inside-out tracking of the Rift S and the Cosmos and all that. So I don't think lighting's a really thing, but I haven't had an issue. And I've used this in pretty dark scenarios. These base stations generally use infrared, I'm pretty sure, so it's generally not too light dependent, and yeah, I've been really happy with it so far, and I haven't had any major jumps. I haven't been kicked out saying find your boundary, or suddenly closer to the steering wheel or anything like that. So for me, like the Cosmos probably wasn't quite at the Rift S level, in my opinion, on a few things. And one of the things was the slight drift you got. Even though I did have more major issues with the Rift S, I still probably preferred the Rift S. But now I'm having a lot of fun with the Cosmos Elite, The tracking is really good. The only thing now for me with the Cosmos Elite that I feel probably I need to work on a little bit to make this a really good headset and one that's really good for sim racing is the lenses, the HTC lenses. Now, as far as I'm aware, HTC has not changed these lenses at all from the original Vive to even some of the later Pros, the Vive Pros and stuff. They use the Fresnel lenses, and for me, especially with the Cosmos, because you're slightly further away from the lenses inside the headset because the headset kind of flips up and down, it makes it even worse. So there's quite a few God rays and things like that, a little bit of glare, and I find I get a little bit more eye strain compared to what I'm used to on the Rift S. So yeah, that's probably the thing holding me back a little bit here. I want to try and fix that. There are ways to fix that. So if you're watching, definitely keep subscribed, because I am going to be modifying this Cosmos/Cosmos Elite now a bit further, and I'm going to be hopefully making it even better with some later videos. Maybe if you're watching this quite a bit in the future, they're already out. But there's a few mods I want to do that will potentially help in that vision area, the lens area, and maybe we can make this even better for sim racing. The tracking is good. I think the display is pretty good, minus the lenses, of course. Obviously, if you're planning on having a bit of a hybrid headset where you don't just do sim racing with it, by going with a Cosmos Elite, you do get the old school Vive wand controllers, which I would say aren't the most ideal controller in the world. Yeah, I would definitely prefer the controllers of my Rift S or my Quest 2 or something over the wands. But the wands are pretty big and chunky. You also can't replace the batteries in them. They're rechargeable wands, so as soon as the batteries run out, you pretty much have to set them down, recharge them, and wait. Unless you have a second pair of wands. But even then, you don't have like a joystick on the wand controllers. You just get a little touch pad, which isn't quite as good. If you're just going with the Cosmos, then you do get a joy, but the tracking isn't as good on them. So it's pretty much a lose-lose scenario here with the Cosmos and the controllers. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Keep subscribed to check for the next videos where I upgrade this even further. And let's see how it is for sim racing then. You can tell I've been in VR with a Cosmos, because I have like the HTC Cosmos pad pretty much embossed into my forehead. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hit that like button if you've liked it, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video.